Deanna Lay, CEO and founder of IKAGG, I Know a Guy / Gal, here back with another IKAGG interview. Today, it is my privilege and honor to introduce you to my beautiful friend, Carrie Schmitt. She is the founder of the organization Love Like Jackson, and I know that you will be moved by her story, so we're going to get right into it. Carrie, tell us a little bit about you, and then please do share more about Love Like Jackson.
Thank you for having me. My name's Carrie Schmitt, and I am 1/3 of also Chicken Schmitt, Doors and Windows, and married to Mike. And together we have 2 sons, Jackson and Ivan. And basically back in 2019, my son Jackson started experiencing some leg pain, and we at first sort of thought it was just growing pains, and we were going to the doctor and to the emergency room, and they weren't really figuring out what was going on. In the meantime, he was still, having some good times, and he was having some times where his leg hurt. But I was also a surrogate at that time, and I was 7 months pregnant. Fast forward to July 2019, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy on July 8th. And 6 days later, we ended up taking Jackson to the emergency room because he was sick, and we kind of thought he was dehydrated, even though we knew something was wrong with his leg. And basically everything snowballed very quickly. That day we found out that he had a 9-inch tumor in his femur. He had developed a flap on his mitral valve, and that was releasing clots, which was causing him to have strokes. And in the span of 6 days, he had 6 strokes, and sadly and unfortunately died July 20th, 2019. And it was a complete and total shock. Sometimes it is still shocking to me. At that time, our son Ivan was 3.5, and he very quickly developed pretty terrible anxiety. He was scared something was going to happen to me. Right. And, when you're grieving yourself and you're dealing with a child who has feelings and emotions that he doesn't really understand, it forced me to surrender very quickly. I did not know how to do it. I needed help. Thankfully, we had been connected with play therapists in St. Louis who specialized in working with grieving children. And she helped Ivan so much. She helped him process a lot of feelings. But not only that, she really gave me hope, because I didn't know how to do that. I did not know how to help my son who was having such terrible anxiety. And I just realized very quickly that I wanted to offer this to other families, because I did my own research and realized that siblings are called forgotten grievers. And everyone just assumes because they're children, they'll be fine, they're resilient. But really, with a grieving child, it is my belief, and all the statistics I've seen say that 100% of grieving siblings are having a difficult time. And people think that if a child is, playing, or they're not just bawling all the time, that they're fine. And that's just really not the case. And so with having a background in social service, it was kind of seemed natural for me to start something. So I started in March of 2020 with Love Like Jackson, and we fund art, music, and play therapy and trauma-informed yoga for children whose sibling has died. We recently added funding therapy for parents, also grief therapy. We provide grief bags, which have books for both children and parents regarding death. And we also place buddy benches at local playgrounds. So I know I just gave you a lot of information, but that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. And I know that you tell the story a lot, and I don't think it gets any easier every time you share it, but you are on a mission to make a difference because you've been through it. And thankfully you had somebody come alongside you in the middle of it, because you're right. There's no handbook on this. A lot of times people probably shy away from you because they're not really sure what to say or how to say it. or how to help. And so thankfully you had the diligence to go seek help yourself, but not just for yourself, but for Ivan as well. And I think that speaks highly as to who you are as a person and who you guys are as parents, that even in the midst of your own grief, your focus was on Ivan and making sure that he knew how to deal with it, because 3.5 years old. I mean, the brain isn't even formed. Even I'm trying to think, our granddaughter's 4 years old. And so to try and walk her through the processing of something like that, like I wouldn't know where to start either. So how have you seen what you're doing help other families?
You know, I really want, the most important thing I want is for people to feel like they don't have to do this by themselves. And, you know, I've had friends come to me and say, you know, I know someone who lost a child, but I don't know what to say. I don't know how to help. And I'm not the person who necessarily has all the answers, but I'm willing to, you know, step into that with someone and just say, look, you need to know you can't, there's nothing you can say that can make this better. So like, just take that off the table, you know? And the grief bags have been such a really an easy way to like make a connection with families. Like it just shows that we see you, we know you don't know how to do this. And, you know, a lot of times people wait until a situation has happened to like talk to their kids about death. And for me, it's like, that's the worst possible time I want to be teaching, when I'm out of my mind. You know what I mean? So like, I really advocate and share a lot about, you know, it's okay to talk about death. You know, our society has really shied away from that. And anytime I feel a little weary or like, oh gosh, I don't know, sometimes what I've gotten myself into, within seconds, I get a message from someone that says, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being so honest. And thank you for speaking up for people who maybe are laid up in bed.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, like I said, I'm not the person who knows everything, but I'm just someone who's willing to, you know, speak up and advocate for something that is a really hard subject to talk about.
Yeah. No, you don't shy away from hard conversations, that's for sure. And I know that people have come to you when they've had situations and family members and things like that come to them, and to be able to be a resource to people for sure. But I do find it fascinating that children are often forgotten. The siblings are often forgotten in this, and that you are on a mission. So how have you seen the play therapy and art therapy, specifically with Ivan, help him through what he's been going through?
There's times where I don't really know. I can tell something's bothering him, but I don't necessarily have the tools to help him get it out. And kids speak through play. We sometimes don't realize that, but that is their language. And it's so natural and simple for it to come out through them. In the play therapy room, you know, Ivan's therapist has toys that are right at their eye level. So like a hospital is something that they see very clearly. So he might grab that and play out a scenario, and then she can kind of tell, oh, this is kind of something that he's struggling with. And, you know, I also like letting him know from a young age that there is nothing wrong with you if you need therapy. Like that is like such an important message to me. It doesn't make you a bad parent if your child needs therapy. Like if I knew how to do this, I would be doing it, you know?
We need to scream that from the rooftops. Like there's nothing wrong with you if you see a therapist, and there is nothing wrong with you as a parent if you know that you can't help your child and have to go seek professional help. Yeah. Mental health has such a stigma in this country. And as does grief. You know, a lot of people don't speak about the things that they are going through grief related wise. And again, you've never shied away from that. And that's what makes me just respect the heck out of you. Because again, you're willing to have those hard conversations. And I think you're helping other people be bold in their abilities to have those conversations too.
I just think we need to do better. You know, what my favorite Maya Angelou quote is, you do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. We have to do better. None of us are going to escape death. You know, at some point, everyone in our life is going to have a devastating loss. I certainly hope it's not a child, but you know what I mean? Like, everyone is going to experience that. So it's like, you know, we have to have better, we just have to have better ways. And so, you know, I'm like the little engine that could over here trying to, you know, just raise awareness about it.
Yeah, you're doing an amazing job. Tell me about the buddy benches. How did those come up, and where do you see those going in the future too? Because I know you have a couple out there in schools already.
Yeah, so that has actually been really such a beautiful thing. My son's school asked if they could place a buddy bench at their playground because um, Jackson was always such a good friend to everyone. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. So this happens with my brain too, because I am a grieving person. But when my son's friends moved to the next elementary school, I was sad, thinking that they were going to have to move on without the bench. And so we placed another bench, and then it kind of started just getting some traction, because a lot of people know what buddy benches are, but some people don't. So they're placed out on a playground. And then if a child doesn't have anyone to play with, they can sit there, and then another child might recognize that they don't have someone to play with, or maybe a teacher would see that the child is, you know, sitting there. And that's just an easy way to kind of start a little conversation. Mm-hmm. And I sort of feel like, you know, again, everything we are doing with Love Like Jackson is child mental health focused. So it's like, you know, if there's a child that can be noticed who might be struggling, then that's really important. And like for me, I teach Ivan to know that when someone's sitting on the buddy bench, you should go see if they want to play with someone. And so currently we have eight buddy benches in the St. Louis area. And we work with a local craftsman who uses reclaimed barn wood. So some of the wood is like 200 years old, which it just makes it have so much more character. And God love him, he barely makes any profit off of it. He's just so invested in what we're doing. And it's really such I'm so proud of it. It's a beautiful way to share his story and to keep his, you know, legacy alive, because 6 months before Jackson died, he and his dad made a bucket list. And one of the things that Jackson said is that he wanted to become a legend. And we certainly couldn't have fathomed it would be this way. But I truly believe that he is. And I've sort of made it my life's mission to make sure that happens, because I don't want him to be forgotten about. And I learn every day, you know, just how much his life and his death has affected a lot of people.
Yeah, it's the ripple effect that we talk about a lot, where, you know, one thing happens and it can cause that effect that lasts and lasts and lasts. And while it's a horrific thing that none of us would ever wish upon ourselves or anyone, like, you're doing such good with it and from it. And it's awe-inspiring to watch. And I know you didn't sign up for this, nor did you ever think this would be your life, but to take what you've been through and turn it into something that will have a lasting ripple effect for good. Yeah, he's a legend, all right. He is a legend.
Yeah. And, you know, I learned early it doesn't bring him back, but it does do my heart good to do work in his memory and his name. And I'm undone by all of it, really. I've never experienced anything like, I mean, I know I'm walking in my purpose. I know that this is why I'm here. Do I like the reason? No, I don't. But I've learned that Jackson isn't coming back. And so because I can't change that, this is something I can do.
Yeah. What can I do? How can I make the best of a bad situation? And gosh, I look at everything that you do and know the the value that you're bringing to not only the nonprofit sector, because I've worked with a lot of nonprofits that their mission is kind of all over the place and they're not really sure, what they're doing or why they're doing it. And your why is so powerful. Like every time I see you, I just know that you are meant to be doing this. And so
I definitely do I really try to stay mission focused. I can veer off every once in a while because I am a helper and I'm a giver and I want to do everything, but I really, really work hard at staying focused on my mission, which is grieving siblings.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think you're doing fantastic things and changing people's lives for sure. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I'm a busybody and I'm a go-getter. And one of the best things I've learned is that when things get hard, you can just rest. You don't have to quit. And I think that, in a lot of ways, our society has really become, if it's too hard, quit. You don't like it, don't do it. You know what I mean? And if this is something you're supposed to be doing, reach out for help. Ask people. There are people in the world like you who want to help. They want to better this world. And when you look for it, you can find it. So I would say, just learning to rest and not quit has been one of the best things, because having been in social service for a long time, I've been burnt out before. Yeah. I've been, just overwhelmed and with my own emotions and feelings too. I'm not, just because I do all this stuff, it doesn't mean that I don't get tired and that I'm not like, oh gosh, what have I gotten myself into, but knowing that I can rest and prioritize myself and not quit is really just kept a fire under my butt.
Oh my gosh, that's valuable information. Like I'm recently realizing that my strongest desire is for peace in my life, and peace doesn't have to be like a laissez-faire, let life happen to you, but I weigh everything against, will it increase my peace, sustain my peace, or disrupt my peace? And if it's a peace disruptor, it's no longer at the top of my list. Like I used to be a chaos creator where I'd bring all of this chaos into my life, and I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm seeking peace. I'm hanging out with people who add to my peace and not, detract from it, and surrounding myself with those amazing people and doing things that add more to it. And so that rest aspect of it, when you're a go person, that's been part of mine too. And I see how valuable it is now. And that's great advice.
And I don't feel guilty if I sit on the couch for 3 hours and watch a stupid show on TV. Because I'm like, the laundry and everything's going to be there when I get up. We value the chaos in our society, and it's like, I won't feel bad about resting. So
I love it. Let's do more of that. Because I think the society would be a happier place if we took care of ourselves and didn't look at self-care as selfish. So yes. I think it's fantastic advice. So if you could tell people 3 things about you, maybe some fun facts, what would you say? Tell us about Carrie.
Well, okay, so I love raw potatoes. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I love eating raw potatoes. I don't do it very often.
So like do you peel the skin off of them?
Peel the skin off, just a little bit of salt.
Okay.
I love raw potatoes.
Like the russet? Yellow or red?
Whatever my mom would make mashed potatoes with, she would always peel me a potato, and it was like the best thing ever. I know that's such a silly little thing, but I ran a half marathon, which I trained in 12 weeks, and I never in my life thought I would run more than 1 mile in my whole life. So that's a very proud accomplishment. I learned very quickly that it's very much of a mental thing, and I think that was probably the beginning of my realization that I can do harder things than what I thought, like just if you can get the mental part of it, then it really, the rest of it just can kind of fall into place, I can't have an interview without talking about my love for coffee and coffee shops.
I thought that
Like,
was going to be first, but
well, I mean, in order, that was number one. Okay, that was number one. But you said kind of like, I don't know how however you introduced it made me feel like I needed to say something silly at first, which was the raw potatoes.
I love it.
Coffee has just been something that has just been my happy place. During the pandemic, I would seek out any Starbucks that was open, like, and drive long ways to get to a coffee because I felt like it was medieval torture during the pandemic when I was forced to be by myself and, away from other people.
Yeah.
And then my particular Starbucks that I go to, the barista started to say hello to me, like, hello, Carrie. And I was like, wait, me? What? And they now, like, I get a full on greeting, and it makes me so happy. And like, I'm always down to meet anyone for coffee. I'm always down for like finding a new coffee shop. It is in my, I don't know, 3 to 5 year plan that I will own a coffee shop. So I'm just putting that out there in the world in case anybody says I really want to invest in someone who wants to open a coffee shop. I'm your gal.
There you go. There you go. You never know.
Hey, I'm gonna put it out there.
I love it. I have developed a love for lattes. And so I too am a coffee connoisseur and have traveled all over the metro area to find ones that I love. So the minute you open a coffee shop, not if, but when, I will be first in line.
I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. I already have a name for it, and
Ooh.
I've seen it more than I can envision anything. And coffee is such a way to bring people together in so many ways. And that's what I like about it.
Oh my gosh. I love it. The day will come. I just know it. So,
Yep.
how can people best get in touch with you and learn more about the resources for Love Like Jackson?
So you can reach out on our website, lovelikejackson.org. You can find me on Facebook. I'm much more active on Facebook than I am on Instagram. I mean, I do have an Instagram page, but also you can email me at lovelikejackson1219@gmail. And we've got some really good information on our website. We have a wonderful video that really explains what we do, and you get to meet Ivan in the video too. So
I've seen the video. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. You heard from Carrie that she is on a mission and that ripple effect can really change lives. So if you need any more information on how to help a grieving sibling or a family who's dealing with the loss of a child, please, please, please reach out to her, lovelikejackson.org. And you will find all the resources and be able to get in touch with Carrie as well. Thank you so much for being my guest on this.
Thank you for having me.
And let's go get a coffee soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time.